The quietest individuals, according to psychologists, often have the loudest breaking moments. Those who seem to be the most among these complex individuals, the Sigma male is a guy who loves loyalty above all else but understands precisely when to back off. The fact is, most patient and devoted people are often the ones you should be afraid to push too far. The question is what happens when you cross that line. Sigma males are not just introverts or lone wolves. They're thinkers, strategists, and fiercely loyal people who demand respect, not just with words, but with deeds. They thrive in their independence but are fiercely loyal to those who treat them with dignity. A Sigma male won't lose his temper or argue incessantly. Instead, he will reveal his displeasure or give dramatic ultimatums. Instead, he will subtly but firmly alter the course of events in ways that will leave you reeling, and science supports this. According to studies on emotional intelligence, people who internalize their feelings, like the Sigma male, process disrespect and betrayal differently. They don't explode. This isn't just personal, it's psychological warfare. So, let me ask you, have you ever felt the quiet shift when someone decides they're done? That's the Sigma male at his breaking point, and trust me, that's not something you want to go through. This is more than just a personality trait. It's a survival tactic, a means of preserving his peace and regaining his power. A Sigma male's reaction when pushed too far isn't noisy or untidy. It's definitive and precisely planned, and you're in for a rough time if you believe he'll return after being mistreated. What exactly does he do when he is pushed too far? Let's explore the profound and irrevocable actions a faithful Sigma male takes. The first is the silent retreat, which occurs when words lose their meaning and a Sigma male is pushed too far. His initial reaction is to withdraw into silence rather than to argue or defend himself. For a Sigma, this is a deliberate decision rather than just a coping strategy. When words are disrespected or ignored, they lose their meaning. Sigma understands that making pointless debates just depletes their mental resources. Instead, they would rather use that energy for something constructive, like readjusting their limits or concentrating on their objectives. The retreat isn't about weakness, it's about preserving energy. Consider it as a chess game when the player takes a step back to evaluate the whole situation, taking into account every move that may be made when the board becomes chaotic. Many find this quite unsettling because it seems like rejection, but for the Sigma, it's an essential respite. Retreat is frequently the first warning sign, but many people miss it because they think his silence is pity. Once he's in this phase, it's only a matter of time until he makes a decision. It's a time to regain control over his emotions and decide whether the relationship or situation is worth salvaging. The vast gap severing emotional relationships is the second cause. A Sigma male's allegiance is deeply ingrained. He doesn't readily create ties but does so wholeheartedly when he does, which is why betrayal, disrespect, or constant pressure in contrast to others who might cling to toxic relationships out of fear or dependency. The Sigma is unafraid to walk away even from those he once cared for deeply. This process is quiet but devastating. It cuts deeper than most people realize. When you push him too far, his second reaction is even more chilling. He starts to disconnect emotionally. This isn't done out of spite, rather, it's survival. One day, you'll notice that he doesn't make any announcements about his leaving or ask for confirmation of his choice. His messages will cease, his calls will go unanswered, and his presence will seem like a faint memory. This disconnection is his method of maintaining his tranquility. Intellectually, this action reflects Stoic ideals. You have control over your thoughts, regardless of external circumstances, according to Marcus Aurelius. Recognize this, and you'll discover the strength to be a Sigma. Disconnecting is a way for him to rediscover his inner power, and once he does, there's no going back. Reason 3. The cold strategy is when rationality takes over and the Sigma enters a period of cold, calculated strategy, which is when he becomes really unpredictable. A Sigma, when a man is pushed too far, he employs his most potent weapon, his mind, with surgical precision. Rather than seeking retribution in the conventional sense, he concentrates on eliminating barriers. Eliminating negative influences and creating a future free from people who have harmed him. This might include leaving an exploitative employment. Abandoning a relationship that depletes him or leaving a social circle that disregards his morals. The calm ruthlessness of this period is what gives it such punch. The Sigma's actions are intentional and far-reaching. Unlike others who would react angrily, he thrives and makes those who harmed him reassess their decisions in the process. This deliberate reaction is about evolution, not simply survival. Instead of wasting time thinking about the past, the Sigma directs his energies into growing into a stronger, wiser version of himself. By doing this, he makes sure that no one will ever drive him to that point again. Justification for the inner fortress's reinforced limits. Reinforcing a Sigma male's limits is one of the most significant things that happens when he is pushed too far. Although Sigmas are inherently autonomous, they become fortresses when their confidence is betrayed. The Sigma learns from every betrayal, slight, and instance of disrespect to hone his understanding of what he will and won't tolerate, and he modifies his boundaries accordingly. This change frequently surprises those around him, as he moves from being accommodating and loyal to becoming unapologetically firm. This isn't about erecting walls to keep people out, rather, it's about creating gates that only the worthy can pass through. As Epictetus once stated, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This firmness is not aggressive, rather, it is resolute. The Sigma simply enforces his boundaries philosophically without feeling the need to justify or explain them, which is consistent with the idea that self-respect should be the cornerstone of all relationships. After regaining his freedom, the Sigma makes sure that his devotion is never again taken for granted. Reason 5. The ultimate change to become untouchable. When a Sigma man is overextended, his last reaction is metamorphosis. He becomes untouchable, not in the sense that he is impervious, but rather that his sense of self is so ingrained that no outside force can disturb his tranquility. By rising above the Sigma and using the hurt, betrayal, and disappointment he has experienced as fuel for personal development. This change is both frightening and inspirational, and people who previously doubted him are now in awe of his fortitude. This stage is about mastering oneself, not about getting even or making a point. The Sigma male emerges stronger, wiser, and more focused than before. Instead of looking back with bitterness, he looks forward with clarity. By doing this, he sets an example for others, demonstrating that loyalty is a gift when it is respected but can become a powerful force when it is abused. When you push a loyal Sigma male too far, what you see is not revenge but evolution. His reaction comes from clarity rather than chaos, and he retreats, disconnects, enforces his boundaries, and eventually changes into someone. The most remarkable thing about him is that he accomplishes everything without requiring approval. Cheering or arguing, the silent strength and unrelenting dedication to maintaining his tranquility are the Sigma male's greatest assets. He pushes ahead rather than backward, and once his devotion is shattered, it cannot be repaired with hollow gestures or meaningless words. Taking the lessons learned with him and leaving the chaos behind, this serves as a reminder to those who value his presence that you should never mistake his patience for weakness or his loyalty for obligation. He gives freely, but when the balance is upset, he expects respect in return. If you've ever met a Sigma male, you'll know that his silence is louder than most people's cries, and his absence leaves a void that's difficult to fill. Respect him, and you'll gain a lifetime. Push him too far, and you'll lose him forever. Tell us in the comments what you think about the silent power of the Sigma letter after viewing this video. Thank you, and we hope to see you in the next one. The next one will delve deeper into the traits that define a Sigma male and how they navigate relationships in a world that often misunderstands them. Join the conversation and share your experiences with those enigmatic figures in your life.